Okay, everyone, Invisible Walls episode, I'm not even sure at this point, but Shane's on his belated honeymoon in Italy right now, where he's probably drinking fine wines and I don't know what else you do in Italy.
Or on a honeymoon.
Talking to mafia people. No, I'm going to get the Italian-American
Probably
league on me.
Probably has on a
But Invisible Walls is still here. Today we have me, Ryan Stevens. To my right is... Introduce yourself.
I'm Justin Spear, previews editor.
Directly across from me, and I realize these locations don't really matter to anyone, is...
Mike Damiani, who would rather be playing Metal Gear right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Surprise. And to the... I can't do these stage directions.
His right.
Diagonally across from me is...
B2, C12. This is Patrick, associate editor.
Can you say your last name in a humorous manner?
Oh God, I'd rather not.
Okay. And last, but certainly not least, you love his voice, we have...
GT Rich Brown. GT Rich Brown.
I think we call it the housekeeping. A little bit of housekeeping is just tomorrow watch GT with Jeff Keighley. Then check out Lord of the Rings Conquest. Pretty cool if you liked the Star Wars Battlefront games. This is kind of up that alley, and there's some elephants and other stuff. I didn't see any Tom Bombadil, but here's hope.
There never will be.
So Justin, what are we doing now?
I think we're going to go over a media of the week that's not MGS4 related because a lot of the media of the week was related to Metal Gear Solid 4.
Yes, it was. But, you know, I do have one. It was the rise of the Argonauts full motion video, and I know people hate full motion video and they think it's packs of lies, but it was pretty well done, kind of tasteful, kind of epic. Not too flashy, but it was kind of just fun to watch. Gives you a good idea of the game, kind of these somber tones with like the dead wife and killing some mythical beasts.
Definitely saw a manticore in there. The man's face in a lion's body, horrifying.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I'm still kind of on the fence on the game itself. I had to do all these interviews where they just wanted to talk about like the story. Story sounds decent, but they kind of skirting around the gameplay elements. But we'll
it's
see.
an RPG.
Yeah, they're the same as an RPG, but I don't know. It seems kind of actiony, but maybe no God of War on the immediate horizon. So
Boo.
yeah, so maybe it will fill the void for people wanting to get into some of that Greco-Roman wrestling.
Yeah.
Wrestling. Maybe Ukes can come in and do a good grapple system.
Speaking of action and story, the Star Wars Force Unleashed web doc that actually they actually
You mean the
posted
spoiler-filled?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
one, the one that reveals some of the plot points. I thought that was pretty nice this week. Seeing as I'm still kind of looking forward to seeing the Force Unleashed.
Game looks cool. I got to see months ago. I got to see a demo. The Euphoria engine's awesome, as we've all seen in GTA 4. The engine's really, really cool. The game still seems a lot like just kill like 20,000 stormtroopers and then do some cool physics stuff, hold hands and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think any Star Wars fan's gonna like it, and any man on the street will like it. But I don't think it's gonna be like a AAA title.
Yeah, that's where I'm up and down. I mean, I'm really hoping it is going to be, it's building to be a AAA title, but it doesn't. It's just not there yet. But they're not exactly hyping it. They're just kind of,
I think we'll see
putting out
some stuff in
information.
E3.
Yeah, I think E3 is when they'll be in the official hype.
But with that, let's take our first smoke break.
So now that we're all refreshed, we're going to talk about the media of the week that is MGS4 related.
Yeah.
And we put up a ton of stuff.
A grip.
There's some very cool cuts. We put something together with some of the non-spoilery cutscenes. Put a lot of awesome stuff in there. Put it to music. That's just an enjoyable, quick thing to watch if you want to get a quick buzz.
Speaking of, I don't know. That was awkward. But Patrick, you worked on something kind of awesome looking.
I did, yeah. We did a CQC mini featurette, which you guys will see on the site. And it basically breaks down all of Snake's new moves that he could do in Part 4. Pretty helpful if you haven't really played around with CQC that much. Some of them are definitely useful. Got the throat slit there, padding for items. And yeah, you guys should check it out.
Or is any of them like actually a little more advanced?
Yeah, there's one in particular that's not listed in the instruction manual where you sneak up behind the guy, you crouch with him, and then you kind of choke him on the ground out of sight. And it's pretty useful, you know.
What's that called?
Is that the butt one?
We affectionately titled it Sensual Butt Rape. But
For heavily censored.
but yeah, which is probably beep, beep, beep. But yeah, we labeled it ground choke in the video. But you guys should definitely check it out. You could use that in Metal Gear Online too. So take your skills to the street, yo.
Your word.
And Mike, I think you liked something called the retros or
The Metal Gear
specs.
retrospective.
Oh, retrospectives.
Retrospectives. That hasn't been released yet. Oh,
But yeah, those are all done now, right?
yeah, we got part 5 and part 6 up like we promised.
We all put some blood, sweat, and tears in that. I think Brandon didn't sleep for like 3 nights.
Yeah, I
Oh,
don't even
man.
think he came in the office for a few days
Yeah,
there.
like I think Brendan slept for like 2 days straight after they were done.
So is Metal Gear Acid better the second time around?
No, it is just as
Never
excruciatingly
good.
painful. It is a game I did not enjoy playing very much, even knowing what to do.
So
But
what was your biggest I can't pronounce words. Biggest insight after doing the retrospective?
I actually hadn't played through all of Metal Gear Acid 2, and so because I couldn't stomach playing the sequel after playing the first one, and I'm actually going to have to agree with a lot of the sentiments out there that I found it to actually be more bearable, and it was actually enjoyable. They actually took everything that was wrong with the first Acid and fixed it to make it pretty. It was definitely much more playable.
I just want to add that Ghost Babel is still amazing and a testament to the Game Boy Color, which I was a huge fan of and probably spent way too much money on. But with all this Metal Gear talk and getting teary-eyed, I think it's time to take another smoke break. And now, the moment we've all been waiting for. Metal Gear Solid 4.
The discussion.
The discussion of the Patriots. Well, Justin, I'm going to throw the ball to your court. It's for a sports analogy. It's like Shane's not even gone.
I'm going to dribble it for a while. I'm going to do a fake out.
So you got through the game. You got to go to Konami, check it out.
I haven't finished it yet, so please don't.
Yeah, we'll
spoil
keep
anything.
this, for everyone listening, we'll keep this as spoiler-free as possible at this point.
Thank you.
But, you like it? Think it was okay?
No, I really liked the game. It was pretty great. It's a great audio-visual experience. It tries to wrap up everything that was left hanging in the series.
Tries.
Tons of cool stuff in it. Well, it succeeds, but at what cost? I mean, there's a lot of stuff there to get through. Obviously, you know, if you're a fan and you're looking forward to it, it's a great game. You will not be disappointed. You'll think it's great. You might get mad at people who maybe don't think it's a perfect 10. You may give them death threats or ask what they were smoking, but they weren't smoking anything. They liked the game too.
So far, there's really not a lot that I don't like. What I don't like, though, sometimes is just the, well, maybe it's because I'm not far enough in, but I'm still trying to get a handle on the entirety of the story. I'm still trying to put some of the pieces together from what I already don't know. Gameplay-wise, the weapon switching is making me mad because you can. There's no, like Patrick pointed out to me a while ago, and then I looked into. There's no active reloading, so you can't like unequip your weapon and then re-equip it and have it reload. Snake physically has to, go through you have to run out of ammunition, and then it's like, okay, you pull the trigger again, then he goes into his
So
reload
a
motion.
little archaic.
Yeah.
It's just a habit from playing
Right.
Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, and 3, but you get used to the circle reloading after a while.
Yeah, the problem is, because of the whole button reconfiguration, I was pounding on the circle, when I first started playing, and then it's just like, well, the circle's not doing that anymore. The circle's been reassigned.
Reassigned.
Yeah.
Now, with the story thing you mentioned, there's too much, or is it still vague, or you think it's just going to fill out, or?
No, it's going to fill out. The thing is, just because I've played through the games that I've played through, I'm trying to put it together before it fills out.
Oh, okay.
So I'm really trying. I'm
It's like
anticipating.
an Agatha Christie novel.
Exactly. I'm trying to anticipate what's
With
going to happen
clones.
beforehand, but I've already been tripped up. a couple times. So I'm,
Well, picking up from where Rich said about weapons, the Drebin shop thing is kind of cool in that you can, have access to weapons whenever. But at the same time, it takes you out of the action a little bit too much. I'm just used to running around, opening lockers and grabbing the ammo in there rather than diving into a menu, sorting through the
Do
list.
you find it as do you guys find it as satisfying as like the Resident Evil 4 shop? Because I mean that's what I keep thinking of when
I don't
see that
think
game.
it's quite the same. The way you upgrade your weapons it's pretty realistic and it's pretty limited. You don't necessarily say, oh, I want this, to pierce better and I want more damage and let's change the refire rate. Really, you can slap scopes on it, you can slap a grip on it, you can slap a totally useless light on it. The light's kind of cool. I mean, it's cool to have a flashlight on the end of your gun, but in terms of gameplay, you have night vision anytime you want it.
Right, with
The light
solid
just
eye.
makes you easier to see.
And you can
But-
you can equip your laser sight.
Laser sights definitely can help.
Silencer or suppressor, whatever they call it. Also, like on some guns, you have the option of putting on like a grenade launcher or a shotgun on the underside of the barrel. It depends on the weapon, but I mean, with some weapons, you can, in a sense, have two weapons in one.
Mm-hmm. I like the customization a lot, but replacing the suppressor like every
Yeah.
few minutes is pretty annoying.
So I mean the game has a lot more guns than ever before, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Are you guys killing a lot more, or is it are you still super sneaky, or?
Oh yeah, I mean with the whole war aspect of the game, it definitely lends itself more to an action-oriented. It definitely takes the action of the stealth action to a higher level in 4. Sneaking is not so much the preferred course of action. You can actually run and gun. You can be in alert mode all the time, shoot people down, and for that it's pretty cool. I mean, if people thought that the sneaking around aspect was archaic, they definitely ramped it up here.
Yeah, well, there are definitely some points where the game strongly suggests that you start shooting people. Like the first encounter with the frogs, it's like they're
have
jumping
to.
around
Yeah.
like crazy and trying to kill you, and you're basically in a massive firefight.
Yeah.
Your homies, the Rat Patrol, are definitely trying to take them down. So I mean, you could go through with the trank gun and be like pink, pink, and just duck a lot, but it doesn't.
That's not fun.
It feels more logical. Like
Yeah,
okay,
I mean,
these
I
people are trying to kill me.
Yeah.
Like,
Going back to when Justin was talking about the spots where it's specifically scripted for action, that's also something I appreciate about Part 4. The scripted events are really nice. Early on, when you crouch under a car, you see like a huge gecko kind of like stomp a soldier in front of you. It's kind of cool moment. And then when you meet up with Meryl for the first time, not really a spoiler. Everyone's seen Meryl.
Yeah, everybody's seen Meryl.
Yeah, and you guys try to run away from the frogs from the little hotel. That was pretty cool.
And I have to admit, when I got the trank gun, I tried going through with the trank gun, but after a while, I was just like, you know what, this is pointless. I
Yeah.
just turned into the ultimate killing machine.
Yeah.
That was it.
they're asking you to do it.
Yeah.
I really tried to use the trank,
Yeah.
just like in other
Do
games.
you feel like that makes you're going through the game quicker than past Metal Gears? Because if you play stealthy in Metal Gears, it is like there's
Well,
a
it can
lot
take
of
if you're waiting out alerts, and
Yeah.
sometimes you want to do it. I mean, sometimes it's just easier.
But do you feel like the pace has picked up a little, or?
See, how I'm going through it right now, I'm still trying to play it more at a slow pace. I do agree that there is more incentive you can get away with being spotted and running and gunning to get away. It combines like the open environment style that Snake Eater has, but there's definitely a lot more enemies on the screen. So taking it at a slower pace, trying to play it like the previous Metal Gear Solid games, trying to lean up against the wall, peer around, it kind of it's too slow paced. And
Is it just me, or is it peeking around the corners really slow?
It's
That's
really
one of
it's
my-
really
it is.
slow.
I'm not. The controls, I'd say, are definitely the best that there have been in the series.
They're
But
not.
there's still a point where, the cover and you're crouching behind a crate. You can't just pop up and take a shot. You have to unduck, stand up. There's no easy way to just kind of peek around and
Yeah.
get a shot off. So it's still kind of deliberate that way. There's a lot you can do. It's a really complex control scheme. You can do some cool stuff. But
I've been staying behind. I've been going into the buildings, and I've been watching the PMCs fight with the enemies fighting each other. And we actually discussed this earlier. That, not to get into any spoilers, but I was taking my time helping out the PMC group with me, and I would go down there, and they would actually thank me for saving their lives, and kind of follow me around. Whereas Patrick was saying to me earlier that he was kind of going a little faster and just kind of shooting everybody. They treated him a little
God
bit.
sort him out.
Yeah. So I
Everyone
mean,
with a gun's an enemy.
it does let you play to your style. So
That's cool.
So far, from what I've
so,
played.
So I guess the question is best Metal Gear or best Metal Gear?
Well, with what I've played so
Yes.
far, it's definitely
Best
up
Metal
there.
Gear Solid.
So I mean, and though I haven't finished it, best game ever. If MGS4 is not on our game of the year, I will shoot somebody.
Yeah.
Are you able to
Gee,
play with it? I
Rich.
know you get sick sometimes with the first person. Are you able to do first person? And
Yeah, well, because I use first person for sniping, for
And it's
headshots,
fun?
or if for distance shots. So
That's
that
cool.
yeah, that's fine. But as long as it's not a complete first person game, I'm okay. I cannot play first person shooters.
Patrick, is this the best Metal Gear you've played?
It's up there. Of course, I've yet to decide after I beat it, but it's definitely enjoyable so far.
Mike?
Just seeing the opening title screen, what they did with that.
Yeah,
the
that
game.
was
It just
amazing.
you realize at that point this game is at a completely different level than the other games, just from the first few minutes, and just like the introduction when I saw like Act 1, it's gonna be broken into acts. It's such a cinematic game, but it's just elevated itself. The one thing I will say though, for those people who have played the games religiously, take some time to get used to the controls.
Yes,
The R1
absolutely.
button is not the aiming button
Yeah.
anymore. You'll walk around a corner,
Yeah.
you will shoot, and everyone will see you. And just take some time to get used to controls. Don't just try and jump into it because you'll be frustrated.
That is a highly
Here, here.
recommended tip.
Well, maybe they can take some time right now while we take our next smoke break. Hey, Justin.
Hey,
What's going on next?
I think it's On the Hook, where we put people on the hook.
Sweet. Rich, do you have an email?
Well, as a matter of fact, I do, Ryan.
Wow, can you please read it?
I sure can. This is from Alex Morrow. Or is it Morrow or Morrow?
We don't care.
Okay. This question's from Alex Morrow. Hi, Alex. I'm GT Rich, and I just read your name. Do you think games are eventually going to make a general tilt towards free roam environments? He probably means free roaming. Versus the old standard of scripted storylines with set events? Or is a blend like GTA 4 the way to go?
The answer to that is neither. Everything is going towards casual gaming and Waggle.
I want, yeah, but maybe like you'll be like a big GTA city, and then you like go into a cafeteria and like do the crossword puzzle.
Just real quick, did you hear the argument that someone said like people wanting about hardcore games now and or about casual games now, that there should be more like hardcore games, that in 10 years people might be saying, I wish games were more hardcore like Wii Fit and Wii Sports.
Oh my gosh. No,
Nice.
it's like Nintendo is really going the casual way because they.
Well, what are we talking
Wait,
about
wait,
here?
let's
Yeah,
not
yeah,
get
yeah.
derailed from the
Okay.
casual
We're
game.
totally
Not meaning to
missing the
deviate,
question here.
Yeah. So
I think
Big-
GTA 4 is not the right way to go.
Big open worlds are awesome, but I mean, you need objectives and scripting. I mean,
you need.
I still
set
play
events
Half-Life
and-
1, and I think it's amazing how they use scripting to
I think
get
that's
things
good if you want
across.
to approach it that way, but I think if you want to do a sandbox game, then maybe that's not the way to go. Maybe I'm in the minority, but GTA 3 is still my favorite GTA. You could do things, you could screw around, you could park a car in front of where a guy is going to flee and then like screw him up. You could put car bombs anywhere.
Instead
Here
of like,
it's
the
like,
world getting
okay, it's a
reset.
big mission. Get in
Yeah.
this car, do this. Here's your weapon, and you can't kill the guy on the way. You kind of have to follow things out, and you can't do it a different way the second time.
And you
than
have to
do it
answer the
first
phone
time.
when you're on the
No,
way.
but would you consider? But so you don't think that made GTA 3 broken? You thought it made it better?
I
Because
think,
a
that,
lot of
to
people
me
were
that
like,
was
people think they were like cheating because they had with prior knowledge. They're like, ha ha ha! I can just remove his car
That's
now.
true. That's true, but it's fun. And if you get the mission the first time, then hey, that's great.
It is supposed to be
you did it the
sandbox,
first
yeah.
time.
I mean, I guess the question is like, where do you see the best like emergent gameplay? And I still think you like Halo with the AI. You can get like you really can get a different fight every time. You die at a checkpoint, and you try a different tactic, same tactic, you get like a different outcome every
Well, it's still
time.
kind of it's still basically a linear game. Like Metal Gear Solid 4, and Metal Gear Solid 4, there's a lot of room to play around there too, so.
And then you get like No More Heroes, which
Yeah.
is kind of a city to kind of explore, but it's not really
I
free roaming
yeah,
at
I think
all.
I think the hub's mostly just for context. They're
Yeah,
like,
it's-
you're in a city, you go places.
Kind of buggy too, but it's kind of fun. Patrick, any opinions over there?
Well-
For making everyone talk.
I guess a lot of games are heading towards the free roaming aspect, but then again, having too much freedom isn't necessarily a good thing. Because I mean, even in GTA, like if you try to go into some of the diners, they're just like flat walls. I mean, you can't go into every single building. It's not completely free roaming. And then even with like wandering around the town, like if you have too much freedom, then you're not really playing a game. You're just playing a simulation. You need to have those objectives in there. You need to have like delineated paths where you're supposed to go. So I think it's going to be good to have a mix of both in the future, but it really depends on the game at the same time.
I played a lot of Crysis, which basically your objectives 90% of the time is get to a certain point, you know?
Yeah.
And there's maybe enemies in the way, but it's pretty much just get to a certain point. Once in a while, it's like blow up something at that certain point. And, you know, with Crysis, you could go stealth, you could go really strong, you could go really fast, you could be really accurate. But you know, there was one where they obviously wanted you to get on this boat and go down the river.
Yeah.
And I was like, F that. And there's a helicopter overhead, and I just ran through the jungle. We let my shields recharge, used the super sprint, and I got there, and I like bypassed probably like a bunch of like gameplay, and it was cool. But I'm also like, am I missing some of the game?
Right.
And like, am I missing something that the devs put in that like is really cool? But I also got to do it my own way, so there's just kind of a weird balance there. Far Cry 2 seems interesting with the consistent 50 square kilometers.
Yeah, Far Cry 2 is pretty big, but it's like if you don't have the objectives in place, I mean, because Far Cry obviously is going to have some kind of story, but if you don't have objectives in place, then what are you going to do? You know, it's like, okay, I'm just going to roam around the entire environment. I'm going to cover the whole map. But then what do you do after that? It's just like, okay.
Well, I mean, you do have an overall mission.
Yeah.
I guess it's just like how, like I said, Crysis was awesome, but
Right.
for the most part, with the exception of a couple of real streamlined areas, it was, you know, just get to point A, and then we'll give you a new point A to go to, and then an occasional.
Then the
loading
question
screen.
is there a time limit to get to from point A to point B, or is it like, you know, just get there when you feel like it? The sun's going up, the sun's going down. You know, your objective, like if you need to kill somebody, he never leaves the house, so he's just going to stay there.
So, you're saying Justin's saying free roaming.
Well, I'm not. I'm just saying. I'm not a big fan of like theory like, you know, one gameplay will eventually dominate everything, and this is how all games will be.
Yeah,
It'll
yeah.
never be like that. People will still make, you know, a good scripted action game level by level, but free roaming is definitely kind of the trend, I think, and people are going to be playing around with that and, you know, seeing what you can do with it.
Yeah.
And personally, I like, you know, totally sandboxy. You know, let me do interesting things. Let me do things my own way.
Yeah,
GTA 4 sold a lot, and it's a really awesome experience. But to me, it's I don't know,
Yeah, I mean,
not my ideal.
Yeah, you don't have like complete control over the game world, but there's still a lot of I'm saying emergence. I'll say stigmergy. That's a $10 word right there. The stigmergy of like with the Euphoria engine and like the way the physics and the AI interact. There is some definitely cool stuff that can happen that you can't always like reproduce. Okay, smoke break. So now here's a new section we call Justin Talks About Evil Zone for a minute.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to repeat. probably a one-time thing.
Yeah, what is this Evil Zone?
Well, I just want to say, you know, up front that, you know, sometimes your favorite games are not the games that score a perfect 10. Sometimes they're freaking weird PlayStation 1 fighters called Evil Zone. It's kind of an interesting game in a way. It's simple. It's basically a 3D arena combat type game. There's 2 attack buttons. A lot of things depend on distance. A little bit in the vein of Psychic Force, maybe. There's weird vertical life bars, which I know that you thought were an abomination.
Yeah. But Patrick got to play it a little.
Yeah, you know,
You have a sentence or two?
crockpot of the stereotypical anime cliche characters.
Ouch.
Really lame.
Well, it's
combat.
supposed to be all that. Each one has their anime-styled story, and they have like a single-player thing where they go through and say, "Next episode, this dude tries to kill me. Oh no, what's going to happen?"
Oh, here's a special pro tip. Roy Campbell is in the game.
Oh, he is
Really?
the colonel
Paul Eating
himself.
here.
Does the narration. He's like, "In the world of Anjar."
No, not the
Some
actual.
weird
like,
animation
Oh, just-
happens.
Yeah, his voice is in there.
Yeah, that's totally the guy's voice doing the narration.
Though the cost was heavy, the inhabitants of Ipreseru were able to temporarily confine Ihadolka in Evil Zone.
So that's Evil Zone.
So that bumped it up
PlayStation
1 point out of 0.
So not a 10 for Patrick,
Yeah.
but pretty damn good game for Justin.
I don't know. A lot of my favorite games are like something that fall into the 7 range, or if, you know, when people are idiots and
The fans of the genre?
yeah, fans of the genre. If you're a fan of the genre, you know, go ahead and enjoy things. Okay, well, this special and different episode is over now.
Ryan, how can these people, if they want to tell us something, if they
They
want
can
to communicate
contact
their
us.
deepest, darkest desires and thoughts and fears and
Tell us
logos?
about what you thought about Evil Zone.
I don't-
You can tell us at Invisible Walls at GameTrailers.com. And of course, as always, you can also leave comments, on the movie page that you're probably watching right now, or go to invisiblewalls.gametrailers.com. And if you're feeling very frisky, you can even subscribe to the show on the iTunes. And I guess that's all.
That should wrap it up.
Yep.
Forgive us for our sins
And
and
hopefully we'll get a postcard from Shane that we can read next week.
And I just want to say thank you to the guys that said that I have a sexy voice.
And you do.